Hi folks, today I thought I'd talk a little bit about the importance of easy running because most people, especially if they're training for a marathon, don't want to run as easy as maybe they should because they feel like, well, I've got to run faster because if I don't run faster, I'm not going to have a good time in my race, in this example, the marathon. So I'm going to talk about why, well, you can do that if you want, but why you might not want to do that. So first I want to start by saying, easy is not a pace. I'm going to use some pacing examples because the vast majority of people train with pace, but easy is not a pace. It's not a heart rate. It's not this. Those are all ways at getting at what the right effort is. So when I'm talking about easy, I'm really talking about an easy effort. And it also means that that effort can be affected by things, and you should adjust your whatever metric you're using to make sure you're getting that right effort. So wind, if you're running into the wind, that's going to have an impact on that effort. So will a tailwind. The temperature matters. The terrain matters. Humidity matters. I've got the little E in the corner for elevation. I didn't list elevation because although elevation matters, the other things I'm mentioning tend to vary from run to run. And for most people, the elevation you live in and train in is the elevation you're going to live in and train in all the time. So it's not a changing variable, although elevation certainly does affect your effort. So let's talk about the two main energy systems that you have when you're doing endurance running. You have your aerobic energy system, and that simply means you're creating fuel with the presence of oxygen. And you have the anaerobic system, which means that you are creating fuel without oxygen. So a really good example of that is a sprinter, somebody 100 meters, they're all anaerobic. They're not doing anything aerobic at all because it's over so fast and going so quickly. Generally, the slower you run, the more you depend upon the aerobic energy system. In fact, in a marathon, it is estimated that 99% of all your energy is going to come from your aerobic system. And in a 5K, it's still 84%. So you get a little bit more contribution from the anaerobic system with the 5K, but it's still very, very heavily in the 5K. In fact, it's not until a distance shorter than 800 meters that aerobic is not the #1 contributor towards where you're going to get your energy from. So what does that mean, when you're running easy and getting the aerobic system built up? Well, when you run and you improve your aerobic system, that with oxygen, you improve your stroke volume and force. What I'm talking about there is your heart. You're improving how much blood comes from every pump and the force and what you're doing. And in fact, at some point in time, your heart doesn't send anymore with each pump. It just starts pumping faster. But your heart's actually getting bigger. You're trying to get more blood with that every pump and get that heart to be more powerful. You grow more capillaries. Capillaries are essentially the little roadways in your body. Veins, arteries, well, they're not veins and arteries directly, but they're how we're delivering the oxygen and the fuel to the muscles. So aerobic work, easy work, helps increase the number of capillaries you have in your body. And then you also increase the size and number of something called mitochondria. And mitochondria is where the energy is actually produced. So these are all good things if you want to be able to run faster because you want to be able to get blood and oxygen delivered more forcefully by the heart. You want to be able to get there quicker through the capillaries, and you want those mitochondria because they're actually going to convert the energy. So having more of those and having them be bigger just helps out from an energy standpoint. That's where all that aerobic comes from. So the maximum development of those things, of your heart, your capillaries, your mitochondria, your maximum benefit to develop those, to make those better, is going to come roughly, and this is pretty rough because it varies a lot with where your 5K pace is, but roughly it's going to be about 1.5 to 2.5 minutes slower than your 5K pace is kind of your sweet spot for where you're going to get the maximum development in that. Because I will tell you, all running, even if you're out running a 5K, you're going to improve those things, but your sweet spot is in that 1.5 to 2.5 minutes slower. So the example might be if your 5K time is 6:30, then it's somewhere between that 8 and 9 minute pace where you get the maximum development of those. Now, and I should note that you don't get any more development at an 8-minute pace than you do at a 9-minute pace. So you might as well run the 9-minute pace because you're not going to get any extra benefit by doing it at an 8-minute pace. And conversely, if you said, well, I want to run 7:45, you can do that. You'll still get it, but you won't get any more benefit at 7:45 than you did at running at 9. So let me give you a little bit of an analogy for that. Let's say you're out buying a car. You're looking to get, and you find the car that you want, and the price of that car is $20,000. So I've got a good deal for you. Why don't you go and offer them $27,000? And you're saying, Mark, you're an idiot. The car's $20,000. Why would I pay $27,000 for a car that's worth $20,000? In fact, I'd like to see if I can get that car for $18,000. It's the same thing. If I'm telling you if your 5K time is 6:30, if your maximum benefit aerobically is going to be between 8 and 9, and in fact 9 doesn't give you any more than 8, why would you overpay for that development by running 745? Because that's exactly what's happening. You would still get the car for 27, you just overpay. You will still get the development at 745, but you'd get the exact same thing that you would at 9. So slowing that down is going to help. One additional thing I'll say is, so mitochondria, those things that I mentioned that they increase by size and number, that's where your energy is actually converted. It is a combination of effort and duration. So how long you run makes a big difference in their development. And that's a key reason why you see a lot of long runs for the marathon, is because that duration is helping increase those size. And of course, you can do the math here and figure out, if I'm going to run that 745, I probably can't do that for as long as I could do it at 9. Another reason why you want to have that easy. Now, certainly you do need faster runs. You've got to have some faster running, whether it be at lactate threshold, VO2 max, etc. But those are sprinkled in. Really, the big benefit comes from mostly easy runs to get that aerobic system really developed, because that's the key to your success for faster racing.